In church, of course. Where else?
American history class.
11th grade.
Northwest Oklahoma. We grew up together, went to high school together, rode the rural school bus together. We always knew each other.
Well, I was raised out at Piedmont, and I was in the 8th grade. He moved out to Piedmont, and that's where we first saw each other, in the schoolroom.
Amarillo, Texas.
I was working at a car dealership, Oldsmobile Cadillac dealership. He came to work there, selling used cars.
Well, we met on we had a blind date. That's how we were. I was looking for an address, and I was told that he would give me the address that I needed, and but I called him, and he said, well, if you go out for a Coke with me, I'll give it to you.
Bribery.
Yeah, he bribed me.
We rode the school bus together every day.
The first day you rode the school bus, and of course everyone on the bus knows each other, and here that new boy was sitting over there, and I thought, I wonder who that ugly guy is.
It was love at first sight.
He's always said that when he saw me, he said, that's the girl I'm going to marry someday.
To know that she was the one for me, I really didn't. Even the day we walked down the aisle.
In fact, until I heard his car coming up to the church, I thought, he's not going to show. He was different. And we were just committed.
Because he was a fine guy. He was a nice guy, and he was smart, nice looking, and he went to church a lot. And he invited me to go to his church, so I knew he was a good guy. By then, by the senior year, we had a date.
I got on the bus one afternoon after basketball practice, and I walked upon the bus, and something said to me, "That's your wife."
That we've continued to enjoy each other and enjoy each other's company, and it just gets better as time goes on, which is kind of surprising.
Just that it's lasted this long and been, we've had a lot of successes.
You know, living our life with ease pretty much now. It really is a good time.
Maybe sitting out on the patio in the morning and having our cup of coffee and watching the beautiful sunrise. We have a perfect view of the sun coming out in the morning, so there's sure been some pretty ones.
Traveling or just even walking together, taking a walk, a stroll.
Like hers, it's just anything that we do together that we enjoy doing. And it can be working the flower bed, or walking the neighborhood, or trips, or just anything.
I probably am the one that just needs some space. I probably just walk away somewhere and think about it, and before I say something, I have to take back.
I take responsibility for my part of it and don't blame her. And like she says, I've got to give her space, let her get over it. She'll get over it, and I know she will, but don't keep the flame fan, just kind of back off for a little while.
You leave the room.
I just hush up.
That's why I have a barn. Every man needs a barn.
Apologize, and one of us will admit we're wrong, or both of us will admit we're wrong, and we move on from there. That's
With us now at the age we are, if you let things go, a lengthy time, you forget
what the situation was you got married or you got mad at each other for. You think, I know I was mad, but what did we do?
We don't go to bed mad. We may sit, one of us may be on the sofa for 2 or 3 hours, but we don't go to bed mad.
She just wants somebody to listen to her. As I've learned to be a listener, not to push her all the time, not to talk her all the time, not the boss all the time, but to listen. And not only listen, but to hear. I've got to listen to this, and then I have learned to evaluate. Well, when I first started doing this, she has told me that her feelings was that I either didn't hear her. She says I need hearing aids.
Are you
anyway.
hearing me?
And she said either he's not hearing me or he don't want to answer. And so I've brought her up to speed on where I'm at, that I'm evaluating your question. I'm trying to determine exactly what you're asking me before I mouth off some highly intelligent answer that you don't want to hear.
His integrity and his character.
Yeah, her good humor, level-headedness. Yeah.
Well, I always had confidence in him. I've always trusted him, and I always knew he'd be faithful to me. And I knew he loved me when we got married.
Integrity. He is who he says he's going to be, and his strength.
She had a loving spirit all the time, and it was just there. It was in the house. You could just feel the atmosphere of her caring spirit.
I value his loyalty, I think. Faithfulness. I've never, ever doubted, his faithfulness to me.
But I guess when Brett was 2, we began to think, yeah, we need to get involved in a church, perhaps for his benefit. Obviously, it was more for ours, than his. So we began to church shop, and we were drawn to PCBC, and 53 years later, it's been a real blessing.
And it's been it didn't happen overnight. It's been a progressive thing, and it's been a beautiful thing, and one that we cherish. But we still do our devotions in the morning, and I read the daily Bible reading out of the Bible, the one-year Bible, every night before we go to sleep, and that's our routine.
We both were in Bible studies and just realized that God just needed to be in our relationship more than he was, to begin with.
I think just praying for each other in every situation, and praying for family, and having kids and concern for them, and just continually praying for their outcome.
Well, I pray for him a lot. Through the years, I've prayed for him a lot.
We give each other time with the Lord separately. He has his quiet time. I have my quiet time.
We oftentimes since we're older, we don't really feel like getting up and going to church, but we do. And we're always blessed from having done that. And he's always had encouraged me and encouraged the 3 kiddos to be at church. And so that's important.
Now that I'm retired, I can help around the house.
Oh yeah, he does some.
I think you learn to encourage each other as you are married. You realize the things that they worry about more. And so it may not be something that I think is very significant, or it's not a worry for me, but if it's for him, that I need to
be there and encourage him to get him through that time.
We read the Bible and pray every day. Like I said, we're just there for each other, whatever our needs.
We've always kind of had different interests. I mean,
We give
But
each
she's-
other the freedom. We don't require that we hang on to each other for everything. I think that means a lot, that you can let your spouse do what they want to do and be happy with that and not worry about what's coming or if they're going to get sidetracked with somebody else. That's the freedom that we have.
Our son was 4-year-old, and he was sick, and we knew he was very sick. And so put him in the hospital, and she stood by his side 8 straight days and poured 8 ounces of water down him 8 times a day. A second real crisis we had was with our baby girl, Polly, and she became critically ill, and we put her in the hospital. There, Dr. Shepard, she was a great doctor, family doctor, and she pulled me aside one day and she said, I want you to send Edwin home and you stay with Polly. She said her motherly instincts and feelings for this baby are resonating to the baby. So she stayed at her mother's with the other children, and I stayed with Polly.
I don't know that we ever really sacrificed a lot, did we?
Well, you gave up most of your advanced education so I could stay in school.
That's true. I didn't go on to college, and I worked and helped him to get through.
Well, I think the fact that he's always there for me makes me feel the most loved, that I can depend on him, know he'll take care of me. I know when I had cancer, he was a very good caregiver. When I wanted to go skydiving on my 80th birthday, he said, now if you break your back, I'm not going to take care of you. But I knew he didn't mean that.
It's doing the little things that's not required of you as part of your normal routine. It's the above and beyond. That it doesn't take much effort. And it didn't take her much effort to do that, but the expression she showed me of her love makes me want to, hey, I'm behind. I've got to catch up now and do mine to her. So I start looking for those little things.
Just him being there.
She's caring, and health problems we've had, she's supportive and been there when I needed her.
I've almost lost him 2 or 3 times, and so it's just being supportive, and that. And he's
a year ago we did lose her. They brought her back.
Yeah, but it's those kind of things make you really appreciate someone that loves you and someone that cares for you.
Well, I think you probably need a sack full of forgiveness. You know, our vows contain the word commitment, and neither of us take that word lightly. I've never, from the time that we got married, I've never thought about not being with her.
I had someone tell me one time, if you can still be together after 10 years, you have a pretty good chance of a lasting marriage. And the first 10 years can be extremely rough because there's a lot of changes, getting used to each other and giving in and not always having your way and all that. So we just never thought about not living together forever.
I think the most important thing, of course, is putting God first. I mean, you have to do that, be involved in His work. But I think just being considerate of one another and being there for each other and supporting each other. When we got married, I never thought about a divorce. I mean, I think we was going to be married for life. So we've just worked at that and tried to do what we need to do.
And it seems like we have been married for life.
Well, when we got married, that was it. We never thought of anything else except staying married. I can't think of commitment other than that no matter what, sickness, illness.
63 years.
55 years.
63 years in December.
56 years.
56 years.
53 years.
53.
57 years.
Will be 69 years in March.